friends, it's Sadie. Welcome back to another episode of our Golden 20s podcast. I am recording this on a Friday night, the Friday night before this episode drops to be exact, and I have poured myself a glass of wine. My cat is on the couch next to me. I'm not on the couch, but I'm at my dining table, which is beside my couch, and my cat is here. We are just having a little cozy night in. And what better night to record a solo podcast episode than tonight? Today's episode is a solo episode. Tegan has been traveling all around. She is a busy gal this summer, and I owe her one for doing a solo episode a few weeks back when I was sick. So I'm kind of looking forward to today's episode. I feel like I've done 2 solo episodes in the past, and I always use these as a opportunity to get extremely vulnerable with you guys. And I feel like I get vulnerable in most episodes because I always have so many thoughts and so many opinions, and I'm somebody who, as soon as I have a thought and opinion, I need to voice it and say it out loud. However, my past solo episodes have been about very personal topics such as being single in my late 20s. I've also broken down my personal finances and all of my monthly expenses as much as how much money I make. So I get deep and personal in these solo episodes, and today is really no different. I'm going to be talking about body image today, which is something I have struggled with for many years now. Since the pandemic really is when it started to peak, and I feel like I have implemented a few different tips and techniques and hacks over the past few years that have helped me rebuild my confidence and reframe the self-talk that goes on in my head. It used to be extremely positive, and I was constantly a cheerleader for myself. I was constantly just hyping myself up. I believed in myself. I was so confident. I really didn't have that many insecurities. All through college, I was known to be the shameless friend. I would just say whatever was on my mind and have no anxiety about it. I didn't care what I looked like. I didn't care how people perceived me. I was just so authentically myself. And through the pandemic, I just went through a really tough mental health time, as I'm sure almost everybody did. And my skin was really breaking out as a result of that. It was also from wearing masks and, just the stress of living through these unprecedented times. My skin was freaking out. And ever since 2020, I have dealt with the worst adult acne. And as a result of that, or it kind of stemmed into really bad body image issues. I really want to share really actionable tips with you guys, things that I find help me get through this and have helped me get through this, but also things that maybe you can try if you're in a similar boat. Because I think something about acne is how having a few pimples on your face can quickly spiral into hating absolutely everything about yourself. That is something that I wouldn't have believed until I experienced it. And now that I have experienced it, I know how powerful it is and how hard it is to crawl out of that. So I'm hoping me sharing my journey with you guys, and again, all of the actionable tips and hacks that I can share with you is helpful. All right, so there are going to be 2 parts to this episode. The first is going to be all of my tips and tricks for clearing up my skin. And this is not going to be a list of products that you need to buy in order to clear your skin, because truthfully, I was in a very desperate phase for many, many years where every single time I opened TikTok, I was opening my Sephora app at the same time because an influencer or a random person on my For You page told me that this specific product cleared their skin. And what I have found is that that is not the case. Of course, your skincare journey, your health journey, your wellness journey, it's unique to you and it's a personal experience. It's different for everybody. However, the products that you use is actually probably a very small part of your skincare and your acne journey. So just wanted to mention that this is going to be all my tips and tricks, not products related, that have helped me clear my skin. And then the second part of this episode is going to be all about how I have reconnected to that confident, shameless girl that I was back in college and the things that I actively do in order to feel good in my body. If you Google how to clear acne or how to clear your skin, you will probably see the advice to cleanse your skin twice a day, morning and night. Some articles and things even go as far as saying cleanse your skin every time you sweat, every time you take off your mask, cleanse. That will prevent oil buildup, that'll prevent, anything that'll cause you to break out. However, in my experience, I found I was actually breaking out from over cleansing. And when I went down to cleansing just once a day, I've seen significantly improvements is what I was going to say. I've seen significant improvements, there we go, in my skin. So I now cleanse only at night. I don't cleanse in the morning. I just splash some warm or cool water on my face, depending how hot I am when I wake up. But in any case, I just splash water on my face in the morning before I start applying my skincare products and my routine, going through my skincare routine. At night, at the end of the day, when I remove my makeup, that's when I then do a good cleanse, and then I carry on with the rest of my nighttime skincare routine. I think another big part of my cleansing routine, how many times am I going to say skin and routine in this episode? I don't know. I hope you're not counting. But in any case, part of my cleansing routine and washing my face morning and night is that I just use my hands to splash water on my face and to rinse product off my face rather than using a face cloth. And I don't know if this is super relevant to me, but I'm too afraid to go back to using a face cloth to find out. But the thinking is, and the theory is, that if you have sensitive skin or acne prone skin, or even if you have breakouts and blemishes, using a face cloth or something to rub against your skin, if it's face cloth, face pad, whatever it is, that can actually be more abrasive and irritate your skin more so than just splashing water and using your hands to rinse product off. So I have gone to just using a face cloth just to pat my skin dry rather than washing my face with said cloth. I think another part that is extremely important is being consistent with your skincare routine. So again, I don't think you need a million products in your skincare routine. You really, actually, this is kind of 2 points in one, being consistent, but also just stripping it back to the basics. There was a point in my life just a few years ago. Well, first of all, oh my God, I have so many thoughts coming to my mind, but there was a time in my life where my skincare routine was 25 products long in the morning and then 25 products long at night. And they were different products because these were morning products and these were night products, whatever. And again, it was just out of desperation that I was well, I have all these products that I bought from TikTok that people told me are going to clear my skin. I have to use them sometime, and more is better was kind of my mentality behind it. However, I've realized that it's actually the opposite of that less is more, especially when it comes to your skincare routine. So I stripped it back to the basics. I went to just cleansing and moisturizing. Then I was okay, I did that for maybe a week or two. Then I was okay, let's see how my skin reacts if I add in a salicylic acid at night to help exfoliate my skin. So then I did that. Then I was okay, let's see how it works if I add a vitamin C serum in the morning to help brighten my skin and heal my acne scars and marks and things like that. And I would add one product at a time, but I kept it very simple and very basic. I guess now sometimes I do a face mask a few times a week, but outside of that, my skincare routine is 2 or 3 products in the morning, 2 or 3 products at night, and that's it. You don't need this huge long skincare routine in order for it to be effective. You also don't need to spend $1 million on your products. This is another trap I fell into, was thinking, okay, I have really bad skin, therefore I need to buy really expensive skincare products to fix it, because the more expensive it is, the more effective it is. So I was spending, $40 on a face cleanser and $60 on a moisturizer, and then I needed 2 different moisturizers, a lighter one for the day, heavier, thicker night cream for night. Then I needed an eye cream that was extremely expensive. Like, why the hell is eye cream so expensive? I don't know. But in any case, my serums, they had to be like, well, they didn't even have to be $100, but when you're buying serums from Sephora, a lot of them are around that price range. So it was like I needed to buy what was perceived as the best of the best from Sephora, spent all my money on it in order for these products to be effective. And what I have found, more so just recently, like this year, starting last year, when I started getting like fairly stressed about money and the whole like rising cost of living, things like that, I was like, it is not sustainable for me to be spending $100 to $300 every single month on restocking my skincare products from Sephora. Like, this is actually ridiculous. And maybe one day I'll live in a world where that is reality for me. But at this current time, I do not have like the means for that. That is living way outside my means. So I have just gone with drugstore brands, and I've found that these drugstore brands work just as good, if not even better than the Sephora brands, and they're all that I need. I went back to the basics, went to the drugstore brands, and they work. A few of my favorite drugstore brands, in case you are curious, again, I'm not trying to push products or specific products on you, but I love CeraVe, however you want to say it. I use their cleanser. I've also used their moisturizers. I love Neutrogena. This is another one that I was like, why did I think I was too good for Neutrogena? Like, I don't know. It's dermatologist recommended or whatever their little slogan is, but I use their Hydro Boost moisturizer in the morning. I absolutely love it. It's great. I also love La Roche-Posay. I think La Roche-Posay has like a cult following, to be honest. Everybody loves La Roche-Posay. And why I didn't start with La Roche-Posay before I jumped into like the $100 serums and the $80 moisturizers, I have no idea. But that is a great place to start. And you can typically buy it at your like local drugstore here in Canada. You can get it at Shoppers Drug Mart. All of those you can. But that being said, the like value of your product doesn't mean that it's better than a drugstore brand. I think the biggest thing with those brands that I just mentioned, these are some big words that I'm not very good at saying, but that they are all non-comedogenic. Is that how you say that word? But in any case, that means it doesn't clog your pores. They're dermatologist recommended or approved. They are hypoallergenic. See, I told you these are some big scientific-y words. Hypoallergenic, oil-free, fragrance-free, non-irritating. Those are some of the things that I look for when I'm buying skincare products, knowing I have sensitive, acne-prone skin. And these are things that drugstore brands also offer. And to be honest, I find they actually offer that more than the brands at Sephora that are filled with fragrance and things like that. So anyways, that is my rant about my skincare routine. I think a few other things that I wanted to mention in things that have helped clear up my skin is, this is going to sound weird, but just bear with me for a second. I find sweating it out really helps. When I went back to the hot yoga studio, I found my skin was significantly better. And then I think Tegan and I have been talking about going to Othership, which is like a breathwork class in a sauna, and then we end the class with a cold plunge. I find just like sitting in a sauna, if it's hot yoga at Othership, whatever it is, just sweating it out, getting those toxins out through your skin, opening your pores, that is so good for your skin. So I wanted to mention that. If you haven't tried hot yoga, it's a win-win. You get a good sweat, which makes you feel good, also helps your skin, and it's a great way to exercise. But even if you have like a sauna in your condo building, or if you have access to a gym that has a sauna, maybe you try that out and see how it impacts your skin. I wanted to talk a bit about makeup. I think we just talked so much about like skincare products and skincare routine. However, something that's really helped me rebuild my confidence is wearing makeup and covering up my skin. And I feel like I at first had a lot of shame about that, because when you hear people talk about doing their makeup, they're like, I don't like it cakey. Like, I want it to look natural. I don't want to look like I'm wearing makeup. But when you have a lot of acne that you're trying to cover up, like, you're caking it on, and that is completely fine. Like, you should not feel shame in that. And at first I did, but once I started to realize, oh no, wait, like putting makeup on to help cover up my acne or my acne scars makes me feel more confident. And like makes me feel pretty. When I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn girl, who that? That is the feeling I'm chasing. And if makeup helps me get there, you bet your ass I'm wearing makeup. So I just wanted to mention that finding my favorite makeup products, again, not necessarily brands found at Sephora or products I'm seeing on TikTok going viral. Like I do not have a single Charlotte Tilbury makeup product in my makeup case. Nope, I am an elf girly through and through, but those are the products that work for me. I now just use their CC cream, which is like a full coverage. I guess it's a CC cream, but it kind of works like a foundation. And then I have my concealer, and that is all I need to feel confident. I also find those products work with my skin where, again, they don't make me break out. They're not fragrant. They're that non-comedogenic products. So all of that I also apply to my makeup. But the biggest takeaway here is to not feel shame and cake it on your makeup. Do whatever you need to do to feel confident. Speaking of makeup, I also wanted to mention that I wash my makeup brushes weekly. Every single Sunday night, I am in my bathroom washing my makeup brushes with my Blue Dawn dish soap. The products I'm pushing in this episode, as much as I'm not trying to push products, the ones I am pushing, I hope are like very budget friendly. I'm not buying any fancy makeup brush like wash. I'm literally just using Blue Dawn dish soap. I'm getting so excited talking about this. Can you tell I'm like tripping over my words? But in any case, I find Blue Dawn dish soap does the trick, cleans my makeup brushes to be brand new, and I do this every single Sunday night. I find when I don't wash my makeup brushes, I start to break out on my cheeks, which I hardly ever break out on my cheeks. I break out all along like my jaw and my chin, like the gut, health, hormonal areas. I hardly break out on my forehead. But when I don't wash my makeup brushes, I start to break out in weird, funky places, which is a sign for me to wash my brushes. When I do wash my brushes and I stay on top of it, I find I don't get those like additional breakouts, which that's great. We're talking about clearing our skin. The last thing we want is additional breakouts that we know what they're from and we have full control in preventing. So cake on your makeup, but if you're doing that, make sure to wash your makeup brushes at least weekly. The last three things I wanted to mention are more so about like my self-care routine that in turn helps clear my skin or like supports clear skin. And the first is having self-care routines that help manage my stress. This is a big one where, again, I get those like really deep pimples and like really deep cystic acne when I'm extremely stressed. And I know that to be true. It always happens around Black Friday, which is like the peak of my work season, and then it goes into Christmas, which is like busy and stressful for personal reasons, seeing family, coordinating people's schedules, shopping, work, Christmas parties, all of that. My skin is always so bad during that time, and it's just a result of stress. Also, when my mental health is like rock bottom, my skin is really bad, and again, that's just like a stress situation, my like skin projecting that. In any case, having self-care routines to help manage my stress also helps support clearer skin. What this looks like for me is spending a few moments of every day. I have my morning and my nighttime routine that I absolutely cherish because they are just filled with self-care. It's not talking on my phone or not looking at social media. I'm just reading my book or I don't know, drinking tea, writing in my journal, doing things for myself that I know help me decompress and de-stress. I also really pay attention to what I eat. And again, this was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of paying attention to what I ate, but then paying attention to how it made me feel, how it affected my skin, and taking note of that to identifying like themes, patterns, and triggers. So what I have found over the years is that sugar breaks me out and dairy breaks me out, as well as salt and grease breaks me out and just makes me feel gross. The prime example of this is going on a road trip, and probably like the best road trip snacks are chips, candy, fast food as you stop on route along your journey for fast food for dinner, something like that. Literally at the end of that road trip, if that's what I ate, my skin would be greasy, oily. I would have at least 2 or 3 new pimples that would then ruin whatever trip I was going on. Like, it is that immediate for me and that consistent where I know those products break me out. However, on the opposite side of things, I know the things that I can eat or add to my diet that really help support my skin. One of those things is collagen. I've taken collagen pills, collagen powder, and collagen is something that's like found naturally in your body, but having this I wanted to call it supplement. That's what I'm looking for. Having that supplement, I feel like just helps support my skin, and I really do find that helps. I add a scoop of collagen powder to my morning smoothies through the summer, or I'll add a scoop to my oatmeal in the winter. Super easy. I've also used it as like a coffee powder, but I do find I've seen results by consistently using collagen. And then the other thing that I've seen results with by consistently ingesting is probiotics. And again, this is more than just my skin. I could get into like a whole very personal journey and like health and wellness journey I've been on with like balancing my hormones and things like that. But I find probiotics have helped like so many different parts of my body. One of the biggest things is like it helps me stay regular going to the bathroom, and that actually really helps your skin, if you can believe it or not, because you're getting rid of all those toxins, letting everything out, and therefore it doesn't need to come out of the pores on your face. Ew, that's disgusting. Pretend I didn't just say that. But you know what I mean? It's like detoxifying to like have your natural systems do their magic where your skin can just rest easy, and I don't know. It's good for you. So probiotics, I'm still so bothered. I hope you're still listening. But in any case, probiotics really helped my whole body, but as a result, helped my skin as well. And then the other thing that helps my whole body, but also my skin, is drinking lots of water. You hear me preach about drinking water in every single episode because it's just that beneficial to whatever problem you have going on in your life. But I find me, somebody who has fairly dry skin, especially through like the fall and winter months, even into the spring, I need a lot of water, especially if you're like going to hot yoga, doing the sauna, like we were just talking about, to sweat it out. Like you need to be like replenishing that and hydrating your body by drinking lots of water. So I find that really helps like hydrate my skin from the inside out, as corny as that sounds. I also wanted to mention on this that I have switched to drinking filtered water. This was something I did along my skincare journey. And I now have a Brita at home that I keep in the fridge, but it filters my water, and I don't know necessarily if it's necessary, but I do find that my skin has been better since I've started using it. So I'm too afraid to stop using it and see if my skin goes back. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping the filtered Brita water happening over here. Before I move on to the second part of this episode, I did want to mention getting facials because I have seen success with facials. I was doing facials that used like light therapy, and I was seeing actually really good results from using blue light. I found that was very healing for my skin. It was helping, like the products that they were using was helping like fade some of my acne scars. However, at the same time, I acknowledge that getting facials every 3 to 4 weeks is not in the budget for a lot of people, myself included. I actually haven't been for a facial since probably February or March, just because it hasn't fit into my budget. But if you're wanting to treat yourself or you want to give it a try, I definitely think it could be worthwhile. That being said, what I found the best part about facials is just having somebody to talk to about my skin. I feel like it's kind of hard to diagnose your skin, being like, do I have normal skin, oily, dry, combination? But having a consultation with a professional can give you some of those answers, and they can provide recommendations on what products to use. So by getting facials and chatting with the girl who was doing my facial, I started to understand what acids I should be trying. So I added vitamin C into my skincare routine rather than hyaluronic acid, which you probably can do both, but for my skin concerns, they really suggested I did vitamin C. I also added in salicylic acid, lactic acid. I asked them questions to understand what do those things do differently from each other. And all of this to say, I just got like another person's input on my skincare routine and my skin, the products that are suitable for my skin, rather than just going through trial and error on my own. If you're like, girl, there's dermatologists for this. Absolutely. I'll be honest, I did not go to a dermatologist the whole time I've been going through this journey. And part of that is because I didn't want them to just prescribe me some sort of like steroid. I didn't want them to give me any type of pill I had to ingest. I didn't want to do Accutane. I didn't want to do anything like that because that just feels unnatural to me. I really wanted to like clear my skin naturally through lifestyle changes and through like natural topical products. Maybe not natural products. You guys are like, I don't think Neutrogena is natural. But in any case, you know what I'm trying to say. I didn't want to go steroids and like prescription products to clear my skin. That's why I didn't go to a dermatologist. But all this being said, I found like the support and help from my facialists. I thought that was extremely helpful. I want to elaborate on some of those lifestyle changes that I just mentioned being important to this whole journey that I've been on, because I feel like they, of course, applied to my skin and clearing up my skin, but also just to feeling good in my body as a whole. As soon as my skin started to break out, and I started talking negatively to myself about it, being like, oh my God, like literally the first thing I would do was get up out of my bed, go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and like look for pimples essentially. And then all of a sudden I wasn't just looking for pimples. I was looking for extra weight on my waistline. I was seeing that my, tummy was hanging a little bit lower than it usually did. I was seeing extra chub on my arms. I was seeing, all these really awful things about myself. And it all stemmed from my breakouts, but then it extended to my body, my weight. Literally everything about myself I started to dislike. So some of these lifestyle changes that I wanted to talk about are things that I've done to build my confidence again when it comes to my overall body image. I know I've already mentioned my self-care routines and taking time for myself to decompress and de-stress. I also already mentioned drinking lots of water and paying attention to what I eat, but I wanted to expand on the whole food side of this because I feel like what I put into my body is super, super key in how I feel in my body. And my biggest hack here is eating 3 homemade meals a day and reducing snacking. Now, I'm not really a big snacker anyway, so I realize that this is a lot easier for me than it is for some people, and I'm talking about this like no big deal. My rule of thumb around snacking is if I don't buy it, I can't eat it. Therefore, if I don't buy the chips at the grocery store, they're not going to be in my house and like tempting me to eat them. I don't need to practice self-control when they're in the house. I'm not going to buy it, therefore I can't eat it. However, on the whole homemade meals, I find this is extremely key because knowing that salt, sugar, grease, dairy, these are my triggers for my skin, but also just don't make me feel good in my body. They make me feel bloaty. They make me just feel gross. By cooking meals at home, I have more control over what goes into the recipe. If it calls for sugar, I can either substitute the sugar or I can put in half the amount of sugar that it calls for. And overall, that just has a better impact on my skin and how I feel in my body. I also think that having quick, easy recipes to rotate through is another key part of setting yourself up for success for this. So I have a handful of quick, easy, healthy recipes that I rotate through on a weekly basis. And I find them on Pinterest, searching for exactly what I just said, like quick, easy, healthy meal ideas. I also have physical cookbooks. I have the Half-Baked Harvest cookbook and Defined Dish. I find their recipes are pretty simple. And by simple, I mean like under 20 minutes, only a handful of ingredients, literally nothing fancy. Like that is the kind of recipes that I'm cooking. Just makes it easier to actually stay consistent with cooking your own meals at home. Outside of food, I also wanted to mention that I've really cut back on how many carbonated drinks I have in a day. I used to drink a sparkling water every night after dinner. And if it wasn't sparkling water, I would have like the, what's the word? Oh, I'm blanking on the brand name, but the like Italian sodas, or I'd have like a poppy or, like a healthy pop alternative. I wouldn't drink pop because that was too much sugar and I knew that would break out my skin. However, I'd find like other carbonated drinks as an alternative. And what I found was carbonated drinks, I feel like I just sounded funny saying that, but carbonated drinks made me extremely bloated and just made me feel gross. So by removing those from my diet, I feel a lot slimmer, I feel a lot better, and overall that boosts my body image and just how I'm feeling and how I view myself when I look in the mirror. The other big lifestyle change that I wanted to mention is all about movement. And I know that this is so annoying to hear, where it's like, I'm telling you to eat healthy, drink water, and exercise, but that literally is the cure for everything, especially when it comes to your body image. I have said this before, but I want to say it again, that finding an exercise you enjoy is the key to staying consistent with working out and exercising. For me, I really enjoy yoga, specifically hot yoga, but I also really enjoy HIIT classes or HIIT exercises. So doing like weights or body weight movements. I've also learned to enjoy running. And I think the big thing about running is that it's also a great way to get in my steps. Because I think if you haven't found the type of workout class or exercise that you enjoy, a great place to start would be prioritizing getting in as many steps as you can a day, maybe setting a step goal, creating a step challenge with your coworkers or your friends and your family, and just working to move your body by getting in steps. When I wasn't so into running, knowing that's like just a this year thing that I've embarked on, I was going for walks every day after work, especially when I was working from home and otherwise wouldn't get more than like 1,000 steps in a day. I would force myself to just go for a walk around the neighborhood. And I found moving my body just by going for walks, I don't know if I was actually slimming down. I probably was, but I just felt better about myself because I didn't feel lazy and like I was just laying around. Like I felt like I was putting in the effort. Therefore, when I looked in my body or looked in the mirror at my body, I recognized that effort. And I wasn't like, oh my God, you lazy fat bastard just laying on the couch. No, I'm out there. I'm on my hot girl walk. I'm a healthy girl, like getting fresh air. Like those were the stories I started telling myself and I started to believe. And that really helped change my body image. I feel this goes into the next thing I wanted to mention, which is all about mantras. And I just talked about mantras in our mental health toolbox episode just a few weeks ago, but I wanted to bring it up again because, again, when I would look at myself in the mirror and pinpoint all of the things that I hated about myself, I had to interrupt those thoughts with positive affirmations and positive mantras to reframe how I viewed myself. And using mantras was actually a really effective way to do that and change the narrative. So instead of looking at myself and being like, oh my God, I've gained weight. Oh my God, I'm so fat and ugly. Instead, I would look at myself and say, I am strong, I'm healthy, I'm, smart, I'm beautiful. And I would just repeat these things to myself until I started to believe them. Because realistically, it was me repeating to myself over and over again that I'm gaining weight and that I'm ugly that made me believe it. So why can't the reverse be true? I also wanted to mention a little bit about clothing and outfits. I know I have definitely mentioned both of these things in previous episodes, but they are effective, so I wanted to mention them again. The first is wearing clothing that actually fits you. And I remember this again, peak pandemic, I had put on a bunch of weight, and I remember being distraught that my favorite denim shorts didn't fit in the summer after the pandemic. And I kept those shorts being like, one day they'll fit again. But then I kept trying to put them on many times throughout that summer. And every single time I was so disappointed and upset when they didn't fit. The best thing I did for myself was get rid of them by donating them, throwing them out, whatever you have to do. Get rid of them and buy clothes that actually fit you. Because when you're putting on clothes that fit you, you kind of forget what size they are, and you don't even care what size they are, because as long as they fit and look good on you, they look like they fit you, that's when you're going to start looking at yourself in the mirror being like, damn, like nobody else knows what size they are. They just know that these jeans hug my ass and look great, That is the vibe that we are chasing here. I think another big thing on clothing and outfits is having go-to outfit formulas that minimize your insecurities and emphasize your physical strengths, or what you perceive as your physical strengths. So my biggest insecurities are in my tummy area. However, I feel like the rest of my upper body is my strengths. So an outfit formula for me is high-rise pants. If I'm wearing like a little tiny crop top that shows off everything else up top, but I'm wearing high-rise pants to hide my tummy, I feel great. This also translates to bathing suits, wearing underwire bathing suit tops and high-rise bathing suit bottoms. Those are the bikinis I feel most confident wearing. The last thing I wanted to mention in today's episode before we wrap up are a few other things that I view as completely in my control that also make me feel way more confident. So what this looks like is whitening my teeth. I have great success with Crest white strips, so I make sure to do that once or twice a year. And having whiter teeth makes me feel more confident, especially when it comes to photos and looking at myself in photos or taking pictures of myself. So I make sure to whiten my teeth. I also make sure to get my hair cut and just have some like life in my hair, because I know if I'm looking in the mirror, my hair is like dead and dry and straggly, and I'm also breaking out. Like, I just have a hard time getting past that, where it's like, if my skin's breaking out, at least I can still have a really great hair day. I also get my nails done every 3 weeks. You guys hear me talk about my nail appointments all the time, but having my nails done makes me feel like a baddie. It just makes me feel like I have my life together. It makes me feel beautiful and confident. Therefore, I make sure I stay consistent with my nail appointments. The last thing in this category is putting in effort to my day-to-day appearance. And what this means is putting together cute outfits that make me feel good, like I was just saying, follow my outfit formulas to emphasize my strengths and minimize my insecurities. But it also means doing my hair, straightening it, curling it, pulling it into a bun or a ponytail. Whatever doing my hair looks like that day, I put in a little bit of effort to make it look good. I also wear makeup and, just put in the effort, because I feel like when I was at my lowest point with my body image, I would just not put in any effort because I was like, not worth it. Like, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel cute. Why bother looking cute? However, I've found that I can trick myself into it, where it's like, okay, maybe I don't feel cute, but if I look cute, then I start to feel cute, and vice versa. So when I put in the effort, it is always worthwhile. So I make sure to, especially if I'm like spiraling really badly or having like a string of really ugly days, I make sure to go the extra mile to put in some effort to break the cycle. I think it's obvious that I could ramble on about this topic forever, but I will spare you by wrapping it up here for today. I so appreciate you listening, and I hope that if you're struggling with skincare or going through body image issues right now in your own life. I hope this episode was validating and comforting for you, but I also hope that you heard a few new tips or tricks or hacks that you want to try, and I hope they're effective for you the way that they've been effective for me. Above all else, I just want to remind you that you are way more than your skin, and you are way more than your physical insecurities. In fact, people probably don't even notice the things that you notice about yourself. Please try to remember that and be kind to yourself. If you enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to subscribe, leave us a review and a rating, and make sure you come back next week because we drop a new episode every single Tuesday. You can also find us on social media. We are at Our Golden 20s on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have Pinterest. We have Spotify playlists. Literally everything, you can find us at Our Golden 20s. We also have a Patreon community, which is the best way to show your support for the podcast for as little as $2 a month. We also post bonus content up there, as well as drop all of our episodes early and completely ad-free. So go check us out on Patreon. And I think that is my end of episode ramble. Again, thank you so much for listening. It is especially appreciated when it's a solo episode and I'm just rambling on, but all this to say, I'm wrapping it up before I ramble on even more. I will see you guys next Tuesday.